Let's go, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the LA Poker Roundup. It is July 17th, episode number 89, and the World Series of Poker has officially come to a close. You can tell because Derek is back in LA. Can't drag this guy away. We are super excited to be back. We are super excited to be kicking off the LA Poker Tournament season this weekend over with Legends at the Bike, and we are super excited as fans for everything that went on down at the World Series. So, man, there's a lot to get through. It's been a little bit. We got to get back in the swing of things. Let's jump right in, shall we? As always, I am your host, Ty Dobberton, along with my co-host, Derek Kwan.
What is up, everyone?
All right. So, as I said, let's just dive right in. This last couple weeks of the World Series, we still have our number one field reporter, Mr. Franklin, giving us the details, going through the results, and shaking hands and taking videos and giving us the info. So let's see what blasters we had out there cashing in the main event. Let's start with that. So in the main event, let me give you a little zoom in here so that we can you can read along. For those of you who are watching on the video here. All right, this is not working. All right, in the main event, we had Mr. Jonah Lopez cashing for 1,408th place. Phil Locke also cashing, min cashing 1,385th place. Noel Rodriguez 1,363rd. Some more min cashes: Anthony Marquez, Nikhil Guerra. He switched the order he did that in. Scott Venner. And then Commerce Pro Victor Vo also picked up a min cash there. So I believe he was the last Commerce Pro standing. Congratulations, Victor, for the nice showing, turning $0 and satelliting into that 15 grand. And then moving on to slightly over min cashes, we have Tian Yi, Stephen Ma in 1,199th, Michael Liang in 1,181st. We have, why is that in there twice? I think we missed a few names here. We have Danny, Mr. Global Danny Hiroshi, 1,005th, 20K. Jared Griner, he got in via that flip and go that you got in the other year, $160 flip and go where you just hit the button and you walk away. So he turned $160 into 20,000. Mr. Paul Lee, race car, funny car driver extraordinaire, 877th, also for 20 grand. And Michael Ung, who was cracking everyone up and getting new fans on the World Series of Poker Plus app all summer. Is it so far to call it shit posting or just trolling on the World Series of Poker Plus app wall all summer long? He got 720th for 20 grand, so way to go. Andrew Ostapchenko got 642nd, also for 20 grand, and apparently this is his 8th main event cash in the last 9 years. And according to Frank, he now holds the record of 7 straight main event cashes from 2017 to 2023, which broke the old record of 5 straight cashes held by Ronnie Barta. So if that's true, man, congratulations. Andrew is having an absolute banner summer, absolute heater of a summer. Just maybe looks small compared to some of the other folks on the heaters, but nothing to be ashamed of there. And we're gonna say his name several more times in the next couple minutes.
Yeah, it's really remarkable.
Yeah.
The guy seems to have figured out these big field no limit events, man.
Yep. And I tell you what, hey, if you need practice in larger field full of racks, come down to LA. We have them every week, guys. Come on, get your reps in. All right, Mr. Luke Wynn, Locke, he got 599th for 30 grand. It's quite a pay jump there. Nick Grippo, 391st for 40K. Sofia Umarova, 286th for 52.5, who also she was prominently featured on some of the WSOP streams, social media, and for a little while there became, I believe, the hottest profile lookup on Hendon Mob, right? She definitely piqued some interest.
Yeah, she definitely had a lot of airtime on the stream. So if you guys haven't watched the streams and want to see Sophia, definitely in a couple of middle episodes, she was on a table with Grinder. Pretty fun watch.
Yeah, I don't know. Did she talk much on there? Because I mean, if she talked a little bit, I could definitely see her easily becoming like the next Olga type personality for these poker.
Yeah. She was chatting it up with people.
Yeah, you wanna crush her that you can put on a pretty package on the cover of your magazine. I mean, they got their girl here. So I would not be surprised to see her promoted more in the near future. Moving on here, Brian Hastings, 215th for 60 grand. Brian, I think, had a bit of a slow start to the summer, but if I was watching his stories correctly, he picked things up and was having some pretty good results there in the middle and the end. So nice cash there, 215th. How do I pronounce that? Hugh Lee? Haley?
That sounds right.
Former Commerce Pro, got 68th for 135 grand. Way to go. I feel like I knew all the folks who cashed last year for Commerce Pro, but this year he's made a great showing. And then it looks like the highest finishing blaster Frank could find was Mr. Chan Jung for 67th, 135,000. So way to go. Congrats to all the blasters in the main. All right. Frank, being the consummate field reporter that he is, found a funny story where apparently one of the final tablists, Jared Mingini, his buddy Jesse, had bet him wait, let's see. His buddy Jesse bet Jared 1,000 at 1,000 to 1 odds that he would not win the main event. And this sounds like something they do maybe every year. And Jesse also had a 5% swap of him. So with him making the final table and having a shot at winning, what that meant was that if Jared finished in second place, he would win 300K from the swap. But if he won the event, he would lose 500K overall because of his side bet. So it's a funny spot to be in, and that left his buddy scrambling to try and make side action bets to try and hedge. But it turned out he didn't need to make those bets. Jared finished 8th place for 1.25 million, and a sweat like that, 1,000 at 1,001 odds, that means he's going to owe the guy $1 million if he wins. Woo! A lot of people might think maybe it's not worth it after coming so close to losing the $1 million to his buddy, but
1,000 to 1 next year still? Is he getting 1,000 to 1 next year? I'm sorry?
Every single year.
All right, we got it on camera.
There you hear it. He's going to keep getting that 1,000 to 1 bet every year for the rest of his life. So this man likes to play with fire. He likes to dance on the edge. He's 8 places away from owing his buddy the million. I think in the future, what he just needs to do is take a bigger swap. I mean, if you just take a 10% swap, you're good, right? That was the problem. He only had a 5% swap. 5% swap, it's a free roll. So that's what I would do, man. You got to take advantage of that little bit of, take advantage of that little bit of arbitrage. All right. Next event we have here, number 86, the 1,000 pot limit Omaha mystery bounty. We have a bunch of grinders cashing in this, or a bunch of blasters. Man, Mike's got grinders on the brain. Got our blasters here. Yevgeny Torevsky, 606th for 1,320. Jeremy Mintz, I didn't know he played PLO at all. Man, was he bored or does he actually play PLO? This kid gets 483rd for 1,380. Noel Rodriguez, just read that name off in the main. I guess this is the bust from the main. Enter the Mystery Bounty tournament. Craig Chait, 372nd. Preston Patz, 307th. Yongsik Yum, and I'm guessing 306th. Alan Ariangel, 113. Igor Zexter, 76th. Mir Gaskari, 41st. And then Danny Wong for 26th. We have some dupes in here. I know Frank was putting this together at the very last second, so maybe we have a couple typos, but I'm assuming that I'm reading them in the right order. I apologize if I'm flipping anybody's results here. Mark Fiorentino, we're seeing in the chat someone's mentioning he got 359th, so must have just missed him in the results. We know he had a huge stack going into day 2 or so. So way to go. Another funny fact here, Mr. Vincent Moscati, who pulled both of the big bounties in this mystery bounty. Apparently this year he also won his 9th and 10th circuit rings at Tunica, which included the main event, which was just after delivering his baby at home before the medics could arrive in time. That sounds terrifying, yes. But the point that Frank's trying to get across is baby run good is real. So, if you guys see me somehow at the Mega Millions, look out. I should be running like fire. Now, I don't intend to be at the Mega Millions. That should be right around new baby time. But if I am, I'd better win every single hand in a desperate attempt to get home to the baby. And instead, I will just win the thing. So if you see me, definitely just fold. That's clearly the
Wait,
the only answer.
The baby's due in like a month or two?
Yeah, baby's due next month. I'm gonna play the first couple
Jeez.
weekends of this series, and then I ought to disappear for a while. So I'm gonna have to.
What the heck?
Luckily, those quantums don't count for our next player of the year point wise, so I won't have to worry about that.
That's true. Oh, I forgot about the POI. I don't know if I'm mentally ready to start grinding again.
Oh, but are you mentally ready to, congratulate and give a little, give the award out in a couple weeks? I might have to make you hand it physically over.
That actually should be the way we got to do it.
Yeah, whoever finishes highest must hand it over physically.
Yeah.
All right. Now, event number 92. That's weird. 1979 Hall of Fame Poker Bounty. Yeah. So with this one, we had Mohammed Pormandi, 153rd, Wes Song, 150th, Gary Reckner, 128th, Jasper Ma, 124, and Beth Hall, 14th. Great showing, Beth. So close. 14th place in the Hall of Fame Bounty event. Event number 95, $800 no limit Hold'em deep stacked. Masood Mike Escandiari, 365th, Alex Avila, 357th. Jimmy the C. Serrata, I don't know, I would never know these nicknames. 350th. Jared Griner, 294th. Wild Rob Gill, 244th. Christina Gollins, 189th. Day 2 Pete Hangasackle, 112th. Jonathan Sue, 76th. Wesley Fay, 6th. It's HCL Wesley, right? And then Nan Chen, 3rd. Oh, 3rd.
Well.
Man. Did you say Paul? What?
I said, well.
Yeah. So we got in that 800, we had two final tablists there, Wes and Nan Chen. So way to go. Nice scores. So close to the bracelet, guys. And then event number 99, the $5,000 no limit Hold'em 8-handed. We have Jasper Ma again showing up, 106th. Michael Rocco, 104. Oh, Michael Rocco. Is he the guy that was going to go buy a farm? Turbo wins 71st. Noel Rodriguez, I think I read that name every single event here. 52nd, and in first place, the man, the myth, the quickly becoming legend, Mr. Andrew Ostapchenko. He gets his first bracelet in this earlier in the series, coming in second place in the 25K high roller for over $1 million. Comes back at the very end, second to last event of the series. Wins over 600K, gets his first bracelet. What a series. The second place for over $1 million, a first place for bracelet. Many, many other caches that Frank actually puts out because, as all the locals know, Andrew is addicted to fantasy sports. He seems to be addicted to fantasy teams. He's been running fantasy drafts and fantasy games every single tournament and series for like the last 2 years around. So if you see Andrew at the local series here, he's probably trying to organize a fantasy draft or a fantasy pick for the next big tournament in the series or the last big tournament. So if you want that, get in there. And look, Andrew, stop icing out my boy Jeremy. Hambone wants in, and he's very upset because, as you know, Jeremy is Team Alaska. He literally was Team Alaska with Adam Hendrick in the tag team event this year.
Oh, yeah.
And he would have absolutely first
Number one pick, yeah.
His boy Hendrick in this draft if you had let him in, but Jeremy was begging to get in these things and then he just kept getting forgotten. So come on, look, I know you're a cool guy with the bracelet now, and I think but you gotta give Jeremy a call, man. He's dying to get into these things, and he's got the teams. He would have won that one. He probably would have. He ended up taking all of the last picks, the scraps, in several of these things, and he still did all right. But man, it's got to hurt when you know your first pick, your hands down first pick, no one else would first pick, gets like, did he get fifth, right? Was it sixth or fifth? Oh boy. But anyways, congratulations. Bracelet, the first bracelet, probably the first of many. Andrew defeated a really stacked final table with second place was Brandon Wilson. Third place was David ODB Baker. Fourth place, Vamerdino Mageske. Fifth, Joseph Sabe. Sixth, Sam Laskowicz, who I believe just won another bracelet like the week before. 7, Pat Lyons. 9, Marco Scarrow. And 9, Brian Altman, who I believe has a bunch of bracelets as well. So
yeah, he's actually a big WPT guy, but a very good player.
Yeah, so congratulations. Way to go. That's amazing. And the other little bit of interesting thing is with all that fantasyness, this year is the first time that anybody, and that by anybody, I mean Andrew is the one who did it. Andrew enters the 25K fantasy draft, the one that big WSOP fantasy draft, and he grabbed himself for $1 this year, and he got 234 points, which is got to be the record. That has to be the record for a 1-point player. I mean, absolutely, it's got to be there. So I think he's going to start getting drafted a little more heavily in the future. But look, maybe you shouldn't take this guy's fantasy bets. He's clearly motivated by fantasy. So if you want to have a chance, you just gotta maybe we just gotta if everyone refuses to do fantasy with him, he just won't play the event, and we'll just have a better chance around here. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So the last event we have some blaster results for here. The final event, the 1K Super Turbo No Limit Hold'em. We have Shrivine Irinki. Well, that's a lot of this letters here. All right. Getting 247th. Peter Cross, 174th. David the Dragon Farm getting 136th. Ryan Buckholtz, 120th. Sammy Beshahead, 118th. Nikhil Guerra, 61st. Michael Wasserman, 58th. Nan Chen, 19th. And Nipun Java, 17th. So a lot of repeat names there. A lot of folks having pretty decent summers and cashing a lot. So congratulations.
Nice work, everyone.
One other result. Gotta point out, gotta give the shout out to our current first and reigning LA Poker Roundup Player of the Year, Mr. Elvin Bayo, went over to the Venetian WPT main event and got 5th place in this 5K WPT main event. 5th place for 220K. Congratulations, Elvin. He went in as the chip leader, I believe, of the final 6, but he ended up in 5th place. I just looked at just saw the bust out hand. It was like Jacks versus Ace King. Pretty standard, but way to go. This guy is killing it all year, still killing it. I have no doubt he's going to make a strong case to defend this year unless he's just too cool to play at LA that much. So way to go,
It's going to be a big fight for the POI for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I did find some more results for some of the locals. So I apologize from previous weeks. I said I couldn't find anything. I didn't see any results going up on Twitter or anything for the dailies and for Cavin's dailies, but I see there are results posted on the Commerce website. When you go to the tournaments, they do have a results link. So I got some results. Let's take a look. I have some from back here on July 5th. So July 5th, the $250 Monster Stack, the Saturday. These things have been monstrous. 481 people. Everyone the last couple weeks has broken their record for dailies. So 481 players that day, July 5th. First place that time was Tian Yi Mu, and there was no chop in this event, so way to go. In ridiculous 25K for first place in this daily. The prize pool is 98,600, so this was over 25% of the prize pool, the first place, and Tian Yi Mu took it all. Second place, Hui Nguyen for 14 grand. Aris Ajan for 3rd, Albertin Hernandez in 4th, Atul Halani 5th, Louis Moore 6th, Sarkis Karagozian 7th, Ivan Yusufian 8th, and Musa Taleh in 9th, rounding out the final table. Congratulations to all of you guys. On the 6th, we have Stefan Bean taking it down on that Sunday 250. Mr. Stefan Bean, Dr. Stefan Bean. Congratulations. He took it down for 9,000. It does look like there was a chop on this one. The top, I would say, 5 results look pretty close together. But, actually, it looks like a top 7 chop if you ask me. But I don't know for sure. Stefan took first place there. Second place, Edgar Igazarian. 3rd place, James Zulaika. 4th place, Abel Estopin. 5th place, Lior Grinstein. 6th place, Hui Nguyen. Did I not just read his name the day before? Man, I thought I was the only one to do these back-to-back final tables, and he's got to go and do it just when I'm... congrats. What a weekend. 7th place, Gerald Nakash. Probably Nakash. 8th place, Sergey Tamian. And 9th place, Anan Lim. Congratulations. Got a couple results from the Monday from the Monday tournaments on the 7th. First place, so this one had 58 entries. First place was Kakshosho. Wow, I'm saying that terrible. Keikosro. Zemude. I'm guessing he's in the picture here. Oh, man, I feel bad. I know this guy, too. He's got to have a different nickname he goes by. I've never heard him introduced like that. Second place, George Pachirian. 3rd place, Kai Pan. 4th place, Richard Choi. 5th place, Avitis Hakimian. And 6th place, Gevorg Arzumian. Arzumanian. 7th place, David Phillips. And then the last set of results we have from Commerce is the night tournament from Monday. That is a 6-way chop in this one. And the top 6 here were Eduardo Manin, James Zulaika, Nestor Hernandez, Timothy Telesio. Timothy Telesio. Way to go, Timmy. And then 5th place, Mosh Boskila. And 6th place, Guy Gibo. And the min casher there was Ricky Lee. All right. That is all the results I got. That's all we got here for the end. I am already tired. Let's do something else. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about a guy that everybody is tired of. So there were a lot of kind of controversial stories that came out of the World Series. I was enjoying them from home. You were seeing them play out in real time. But one guy everybody is tired of probably is Mr. Will Kassouf. Were you ever in the room listening to Mr. Will Kassouf just vomit words and noise at everybody?
I was not. I think mostly he was probably in the mothership room when all that was happening, and I was playing in all the other rooms and different events. I wasn't actually there.
Gotcha. Well, for real quick, for those of you who've never heard of Will Kassouf or don't know, Mr. Kassouf is, if you thought that Martin Cabrel's talking and tanking were like awful and unbearable for the game, Will Kassouf is apparently that times 12, and he's much meaner, and he's much more, seems to be much more emotional. And unfortunately, fortunately, he made a very deep run at the World Series, ending up in the 20s somewhere. I think the final 3 tables, right? And there was a lot of controversy about his treatment, to be fair. So the end result is here in this headline. He, after many days of many warnings and many pissing off many players and getting floor called and clock called on him many, many, many times, he had a real big blow up after he busted, called everyone a lot of nasty names. They kind of made fun of him as he left, and he was informed he's now banned for the rest of the World Series, which, to be fair, was only like another week. But that was it. When he busted the World Series, they instantly banned him for the rest of the series. What do you think, Derek? Fair?
I do think it's fair, but it's only because I sat and watched the stream, and I guess there's sort of a line. I think if you just read the headlines and think that he's just doing some antics and then the WSOP overreacted, that might be like a fair assessment from far away. But if you actually watch what he was doing, I think you would change your tune. Also, by the way, he's banned from WSOP for the rest of the year, so you can't play any WSOP events. There's not that many left anyway, but he's basically banned from any WSOP events for the rest of the year.
Events? So he can't play circuit events either?
I think it's all WSOP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a little bit more impactful then.
Yeah. I mean, other than a general abuse that he throws at people, what he was doing was every single hand, and a bunch of people complained about this too when he got hit with that 10-second penalty. Every single hand, everyone was like, "That is ridiculous," and I thought that was ridiculous. But then when I was watching what he was doing, he would get dealt a hand, look at his hand, and it would be something like 7 deuce off, and then he would just start talking to everyone. He's yelling at the floor and yelling at the players, and there's nobody everyone's trying to avoid him. They're looking away from him. He's just instigating, and he's just wasting 30 seconds, 1 minute, and he'll look at his cards again, and then somebody will say something. He's like, I have a real hand, and then it was just this constantly, every single hand. That after I saw that, I was 10-second penalty, totally fair. He probably needs it all the time, actually. And then when the floor was completely fed up with him and basically kicking him out for a 1-round penalty, out of the room, I totally got it.
Wow, your description of his pre-flop behavior reminds me, I'm having flashbacks here, a little PTSD of certain player around LA that I is.
I can't even think of who that might be.
Oh, who? I don't know. Look, if you're any good with his name sounds a lot like a word that means straight down. Okay, let's just say with that.
Okay.
But yeah, he does the exact same thing. These players, they get dealt a hand. They're under the gun. They get dealt a hand. They look straight at the dealer. They look straight at another player, and they just start talking. And then they'll start flipping their cards around. They might look at one. They start talking. They keep talking. Then they look at the other one. Maybe they don't. Maybe someone says, it's on you. And then they look right at them. They say, yeah, I know it's on me. This is my, I'm thinking it's on me. It's bro, you haven't even looked at your other card. Every single hand. So I get it. That absolutely infuriates me. If you talk when it's not on you, if you're not disrupting the game, go for it. If you talk to your opponent when you're in a hand with just your opponent, I mean, there's limits, but yeah, that's better. But to literally just annoyingly
Yeah.
soapbox every opportunity. It's
Yeah,
insane.
it's crazy. And you can even tell, like, even if they were trying to do something like 10 seconds pre-flop and then 30 seconds here, you know he would just take the full amount allotted to him in every single scenario, right? To the point where I just completely agree with their zero tolerance policies with him. He was really he like way went over the line.
Right. And then DJ McKinnon here would agree with you. So, to your point, Twitter was somewhat on fire on this topic. People who were chiming in saying things were very unfair. Kassouf, they were selectively enforcing rules on Will, and they would bring up, especially, this behavior, especially around pay jumps, they would bring up other people tanking for a long time. A lot of people will bring up people leaving one chip behind and tanking for a very long time. So this post here by DJ McKinnon is from the stream, talking about what you're talking about. I mean, he's sitting here with he has ace-5, which is a good hand for him, but like he sits here for a minute, someone calls clock, and he gets very upset and says, it's barely been 30 seconds, right? And that's another thing that folks talking don't realize is how much time they're actually taking. But then, right under it, this is kind of the common argument for people trying to support him is like, hey, other people, they'll leave one chip back and then they'll tank for 7 minutes and not a single person will call the clock. So why are we coming down on Will, right? And
That's so different. That's so different.
Yeah, I kind of put this in the category of those kind of like all political argument, right? Like, hey, I'm upset about this thing. Oh yeah, well, what about this thing? And it's like those are completely different problems.
They're very different.
Right?
Yeah.
So like,
and most of those people aren't tanking every hand, and then yes, there are Euros that will just take like 5-10 seconds unnecessarily every hand, and it's just like really annoying. But if you just sat and watched that, it was just beyond anything I'd ever seen. The interesting thing though was like before that really bad blow up day where they were throwing him out, like giving him a 1-round penalty like 3 or 4 different times. The night before, he wasn't that bad. I actually watched the stream, and actually, like, that was really the first time I really like tuned into a Cabral episode for like a really long time, and I was like, wow, he's not that bad. He seems kind of pleasant. He's making a couple of people at the table laugh. He's being annoying here and there, but he actually wasn't that bad.
Right.
The next day, I don't know what happened. Like, it's like a switch flipped, and a lot of people were supposing he was having some sort of like episode. It was crazy.
Jeez. Yeah, and that that's another thing that's come up is people saying like, oh man, this guy's like, he's on drugs, he's on like, Adderall, he's on cocaine, he's got mental problem of some sort. It's like, oh, and then that goes both ways, right? Some people are like, well, you should be more what's the word? We should be more
sensitive.
Yeah,
sensitive.
He clearly has something wrong, a mental problem. We should be more sensitive. Yeah, we should be more tolerant. It's like on the other hand, like, should he be playing poker?
Yeah. But he also admitted himself he got like 1 to 2 hours of sleep like every night. Like nobody can operate like that. So I mean, it could just literally be that, like sleep deprivation. That'll just do stuff to people.
Yep. And then the other side of the argument is people like this fella saying, hey, look, the whole situation, I mean, he's terrible, but it's been handled very poorly. And now that they got to that breaking point where they started giving him those penalties, those 10 seconds, and they started giving him those penalties in the orbits, it's like, well, this shouldn't have been handled this way. It was kind of like tolerate, come down too hard. And then all of a sudden now we're just going to like penalize him for every time, as opposed to like the first 5 days tolerating it and putting him on the stream. And then that other part of the argument is people arguing like, well, you've been putting him on the stream, you've been profiting from it, you've been using him for clicks, right? So what do you think about that? Yeah. The argument of like, well, these guys, you use them, you're putting them on display to get views, and then you penalize them and you punish them. That's not fair.
I want to say there's like 2 different departments. The people who are responsible for the streams and the views, and there's people who's responsible for enforcing the rules, and they're not really, but affecting each other's decisions so much. So I would say it's like that, number one. So they're not really the same people, even if maybe the entire entity benefits from him. But you can see that the decision coming from Jack Effel. So Jack Effel, by the way, I think people were saying, oh, notice how all the tournament directors are so well loved and Jack Effel isn't. But Jack Effel is like now VP of operations at the fucking WSOP, right? He's not just a tournament director anymore. Like his decision was to basically ban him from every WSOP event. He was like, if you keep talking to me, I'm going to have security escort you out. So Jack certainly wasn't somebody who, at that level was like too concerned about the views that he was getting. He was pretty fed up with him.
Right. Yeah. I would, on the one hand, I do agree. It's like, those are 2 separate things. Those are 2 separate entities. Like you've got the you've got the guy who actually cares about clicks and whatnot, and you have the floor who's trying to run a smooth game. On that note, for this particular topic, I blame the people who are setting the tables and trying to get views less, because I do feel like overall situation handling at the World Series this year, a lot of it kind of brought to the forefront from because of WPT's interference, right? They're meddling, so to speak. Brought up a lot of things, and just in general, though, in past history, just watching the way they deal with like Helmuth, right, and the way they give favoritism to those types. In those situations, it does seem like there's that overlap. Like, hey, we know he's a star, we got to treat him favorably, and that should never happen. I agree, it should be separate. That they are mostly separate. They have separate interests, but like the fact that people like a Helmuth when he threatens to burn down the building, get more leeway than others is just not right. And then I could see why people would think like, well, it's the opposite here. They don't like him, so they're going to come down harder on him, and he's not as big a name as Helmuth, so they're just going to use him and throw him off, right?
There's a fine line like around the Helmuth and the Cabrals. Like, you don't see the players reacting in the way that they do to a Martin. It's like very, very extreme the way the players react around him, and they're just so uncomfortable around him. People weren't even like understanding that it was their turn to go. They were so distracted, probably playing awfully with each other, right? Like that deep in the friggin' main event because of one person. So he definitely, like, I was maybe like partially defending Cabral when I saw that one night where he seemed like kind of civil, but then the next day when I saw what was going on, I was like, nope, you can't. This guy is just like too disruptive. This is like pure antisocial behavior. Can you imagine if every player acted even like 60-70% of what he did? Poker would be unplayable, right? And it is I think as poker operators, I think they should really take a close look at what Cabral was doing and just figure out some ways to like put more rules and punishments in place to stop that behavior instantaneously.
Right.
Because I also don't think that the people who are trying to drive clicks on these streams should have to worry about like, I'm going to put this person on, and all of a sudden they're going to do so many things that's going to destroy the fabric of like poker, right? Like there are no rules that should allow that to happen. So
right. Yep, no, absolutely. And it's a tough spot to be in, to have to, because the rules around that are all subjective. They're all like at the tournament director's discretion, at the floor's discretion. So it's a tough spot to be in for it to be your discretion and have to handle it properly. But they need to come up with procedures and policies and make it consistent.
And typically like that kind of stuff is okay to just have like a broad set of rules and then allow enforcement, because generally non-antisocial people, which is like 99% of the community, right, just can kind of understand what they're supposed to do and not do. And then you just have a couple of people that sort of violate it, and then you have freaking Kassouf, who just amps it up to like 200%. And so like he's why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think some people were getting a little bit of satisfaction with the way that some of the later players were handling him. I believe, as we were mentioning, Jeremy's buddy, Mr. Hendricks, dealt with him pretty well. I think he had some interactions that got a little bit of fan approval, and he also kind of trolled him a little bit post fact online, I think, in some posts. But I think that if you need some folks who are confident and competent and willing to stand up to folks like that to kind of try and keep them under control, or they will just completely dominate and ruin an entire table. So yeah, but like to your point, it's not really on the players to keep that sort of person from taking over the table. We came here, as I said before, we're paying rake, we're paying for you to provide the environment, to provide this venue, and provide the safe and fair place for us to compete in, right? So
I did notice even post all this Will Kassouf madness, when I was playing a couple of tournaments, I noticed that the floor staff would come over, a clock would get called, he had to come back a second time, and he would immediately be like, if I have to come back here again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start like ticking down, right? You go from 30 seconds to only having 20 seconds, down to 10 seconds, then I'm going to give you a penalty, right? If I have to come back to this table too many times, all of you are going to, right? And you could just, I could almost like hear the Will Kassouf reaction in his voice. So I thought that was kind of nice.
Yeah. I mean, that does sound like maybe there was some coaching going on. So that's good. That is good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to something a whole lot more cheerful. Luckily, Mr. Kassouf did not make the final table, but the final table we did get was one to remember. This was a fantastic final table by all accounts. The makeup of it and the composition, I mean, the storylines out of it, there were, of the 9 folks, at least 7, I think, had killer storylines. In the last 2, it was just because we probably didn't know them well enough.
Right.
So I don't even know where to start. I think I'll start with right in the middle there in the picture. I mean, this year, Leo Marget's becoming the first woman in 30 years to make the final table. I mean, that right alone would have made this final table special, right?
Yeah, I was rooting for her so hard.
Absolutely. And then, obviously, you have the pros there. You have the grinder. You have Hendricks. You got the guy, Hallert, right, who made the final
Kenny
table
Hallert,
now for the second time in the last, 10, 12 years or something. Like, insane.
And he's actually a TD.
Yeah, that's just insane. Like the stories here were just absolutely wild. And then, we have the Korean fella, Dae-Hyung Lee,
Oh, yeah.
just going to make poker explode even more over there in Korea. I mean, they're getting into it. They're finding ways to play, even though gambling technically is illegal. It's a sport. They make it a mind sport. They make it a card game. What were some of your favorite storylines here? I know I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I was rooting for Leo to win number 1, and then after that maybe like Hendricks or Mizrachi, but I didn't care as much about that. I kind of would have been just as happy if she didn't win with Wozniak winning.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that was probably the order I had. It was Marget's, Grinder, and then Wozniak, and then probably Hendricks, and then like everyone else. Although it's just like the final table was so incredibly awesome to root for. You could root for every single person.
Yeah.
There wasn't like a villain in there at all. And there's so many of them could have had such a strong impact on poker that it's fantastic. We didn't get to the final table when it was like one of the best final tables I'd ever seen in terms of action. I mean, there was some like crazy ass like card distribution and people just getting like big cards and getting it in. But yeah, it was so much fun to watch.
Yeah. I don't have a Poker Go subscription, so didn't think I was going to get to watch much of it, but lucky for me, somebody launched, I think somebody or some group launched a massive denial of service attack on Poker Go. It's what it sounded like. Anyways, Poker Go got completely crashed and taken down. So they ended up putting it all on YouTube, which is good for all of us who were not subscribed. And yeah, it was fun. You see the grinder now. I mean, honestly, at first it was like kind of fun when I'm watching, and then I just kind of started getting a little. I had to start anti-rooting for Grinder. He was just getting so lucky at some point near the middle.
He was getting very lucky. Getting very lucky.
I was rooting for him, and then it's just like, okay, you're hitting too much. Someone else has to win a hand here,
Yeah. But there are some people, though, I'm gonna say, like when they get smashed by the deck, there's like this other level of dominance that they can achieve, and Mizrahi is one of those few people that can really do it. If you have like a little bit of a nittier player, like say a Wozniak like ran like that, because he actually ran pretty well too. He doesn't have that domination that a Grinder does, just because Grinder is playing so many hands in so many different ways that it makes it very hard to fold. That it's actually horrifying to play against him when he's running well.
Yep. I like it when I run well. It's doesn't happen often enough. Feels good. But yeah, so obviously Grinder did won in spectacular fashion. I think he set the record for the fastest main event final table, at least that we've got, that we can remember. I think it is the fastest one that they've recorded anyways. And not only that, we also know he won the Poker Player Championship for the fourth time, more than anybody else, and did it this exact same year. So after all of that, not only did he win the main event and the bracelet, he was given a special, like an emergency Hall of Fame induction on that same
amazing
day.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Big, huge. I mean, obviously he deserves it. It. Should be in. That was cool that they did it, but I still have problems with it, because why do we? I mean, like, I think it was awesome they did it, and it's really cool and appropriate. But at the same time, why do we have to make this special exception to let this guy in? He already had a Hall of Fame resume. Why don't we just change the rules to let the right number of people in every year? Why, like, next year, you're going to just emergency cherry pick someone who's having a great year and let them in too? I mean, okay, like, that's better than nothing, because we want more people in. But, like, guys, like, the more... For me, something like the Hall of Fame, and same thing with the Player of the Year. We also had people calling, like, as he was winning this thing, we had so many people on Twitter calling out, hey, the grinder needs to win the player of the year if he wins this. It's just he won the players championship, and if he wins this, that's it, automatic player of the year. And, you know, right there, a lot of people, these are probably the same people saying Benny Glaser, he wins 3 bracelets, player of the year, automatic player of the year.
Arbitrary. I feel like, you know, these events are so important that
Right.
that just overrides everything and throws everything out the window.
It's like, guys, we agreed to the rules before we started, right? It's like, if we have 17 different automatic player of the year conditions, what do you do when people meet them all? Like this, you can't do it. So that's kind of what I feel like with this Hall of Fame thing. It's like, awesome gesture, awesome, cool, but like the more you just make up shit as you go, and it's clearly unfair, honestly, to everyone else who doesn't get an emergency in because other people have resumes that should let them in, and you're just like, you know, I'm just gonna, you know, if you can put enough social pressure on us, we'll let you in, like outside of the thing. Like that's how we're doing it now. Like, what are if those are the rules, okay, but let's codify it, right? What's going on?
I do feel like the Hall of Fame thing, though. This is going to be the trigger that's going to bring about change. I feel like people have been screaming about letting more people in per year already anyway. Maybe go to sort of the baseball model where you just have a whole bunch of votes and like any number of people can get in at any given time.
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
Yeah, just clear out the backlog at least because there's like too many people piled up. I do feel like this was like the precursor to that of just sliding Grinder in. I feel like starting next year, they're probably going to have some changes, which is good.
I hope they do. And if they do, I really hope they announce like the new system way in advance. Like, I hope it's not like 1 month before the induction. They're like, and here's the new system, right? And if they do make these changes, I don't know how many people are talking about this or not, or if this is on people's wish list. I feel like it must be. They got to change the voting system. Like only Hall of Fame members being allowed to vote is it just doesn't work. It's just not right.
Yeah.
Especially before, like back when they were saying like, look, 20 of these guys don't follow poker. They barely even play anymore. They just ask Doyle who to vote for every year, right? Like, that's just dumb. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just not right. You're not rewarding the best poker players. You're basically, you know, while Doyle was alive, it's okay-ish because he is tuned in and he can make appropriate decisions. But, like, those guys are still voting. Who's telling them how to vote now? Like, why are you letting people who aren't following poker and probably don't know much about poker beyond their era vote at this point, right? And it's also the number of votes you get is limited. Like, you got to change the whole system. I mean, and if you don't, or if you are going to change it in a way that's less, you got to let people know ahead of time. You can't just spring it on them at the last second the way that we keep springing the Tournament of Champions location on all the players, right? You got to let them know ahead of time. Make these changes, give people time to adjust and to figure out or to plan, right? Or to come to grips with it, you know, like, I don't know. It's a crazy system. It's been a crazy system. They've got to overhaul it. Or I feel like I haven't really been able to take the Hall of Fame seriously. It's nice to. It's like it's not the Hall of Fame. It's like the what's even the word? It's like the museum Hall of Fame. It's not like the real Hall of Fame, right? Because you can get so few people in, right?
And if any of you operators out there need some operations / communications help, because I feel like many of you actually do, let me know. I would be happy to contribute any way that I can.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it seems like the biggest hurdle is just getting all of the right people to make the agreement and sign the thing so that they can do the announcements and whatever. And because like a lot of the time when we can't get the announcements, it's like, well, you know, there's still legal stuff happening. It's like, okay, but
there's just this kind of fine line between your operations and things that kind of make sense and matter to you internally, and then how you're making sure that players are prepped for that. There is like an art to it, really, and I've been just doing it for so many years. So anybody needs help, let me know.
Yeah. So I pivoted away from it for a second, but you know, I do want to talk a little bit more about that Player of the Year. So like I said, the other call that had been coming out on social media was that Grinder should win the Player of the Year. Now, I believe he came in 4th. Is that right? He came in 4th in the Player of the Year.
Did he finish that high? Good.
Yeah, he finished very high, but you know, he did not beat, you know, Sean Deeb won Player of the Year. And I believe he came in 4th or 3rd, honestly. I mean, because he did still have an amazing year. It just wasn't as good as, you know, I think it was Sean Deeb, then Benny Glaser, and then possibly
I would be
one
surprised. More. I would be surprised if Grinder beat Cabral, because Cabral had a ridiculous year too.
It might have been Cabral in 3rd place, yeah. But he did not, you know, he did not win. And we have everybody shouting like, hey, you have to win this one. And look, you posted about it on Twitter, and I totally agree. We already have a formula in place. I don't know what it is exactly, but there's already a formula in place. It already takes into account buy-in and field size and probably final tabling. We all agree.
I've been trying to tell people that like there's a formula for it, and they actually weight like the higher buy-ins, and they weight like the bigger field. So that's kind of already in there. And then people are just like, well, the formula's wrong. I'm like, no, you're just being arbitrary because you just think that somebody who wins the main and the 50K like that's an amazing achievement. It insta slid Mizrahi into the Hall of Fame. That's how big of an achievement it was. But the POY is just not exactly that thing, right? It's there's a lot of events that happen. There's 250K buy-ins that happen, right? There's other 50K events that happen. So
there are literally 100 events this summer.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are saying like if somebody final tabled 50 of them, but this guy wins like the biggest tournament and then another big tournament, like two.
Yeah, it's like
a auto win.
It's like a landmark satellite, right? You just hit those two and then you just you win.
And it's like nobody won 50 tournaments, but like if you were saying things like you should just auto win, like you're literally just saying we have a system in place that says if you win enough of them and you finish high enough, consistently enough in enough events, you will win. Yeah. And we already
if you win the Legends main and you win the LAPC main, you're in the POY. It's over.
Yeah, that's it.
LAPR POY is over. Yeah.
Yep. I would institute that just so I have less work to do, but.
And then just sweat like the person that's actually going to get close to doing that, right?
Yeah, but if you don't like, if you don't like the system, what you should do is learn how the system works and suggest tweaks to that system, not just say, oh, you win the main, you should win. If you win the main in one other tournament, that's it. It's over. It's like...
I don't know if it's published somewhere, but try to find out what the details of the system are. What are the weights? What are the multipliers? And then come back and tell us whether or not you agree or what you think those numbers should be, right? Because are you asking for a 50x multiplier? Like what is it you're asking for?
I'll tell you what most of them are asking for. They're asking for here's the multiplier that they should add is if I watch the event and I know who won it, that should be a 3x multiplier. I've heard of that event. You get extra points. I know that event. That's really literally what it is.
I made it easy for people in a lot of the comments. I was like, you know what? You people are asking for like a People's Choice Award. That's what you're asking for. So
and
let's have a People's
Choice
Award.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's have that. Let's have that, and let's have a POI, right?
Yeah,
two different things.
Let's do that. Yeah. I'm totally down. And the only thing Player of the Year wins you is a banner, which Mizrahi's already going to get, and a buy-in for next year. Like I don't think he minds that. So, look, guys, you already get a lot of great things for winning the main event. You get the banner, you get the biggest bracelet of the year, and you get the money. And for winning the Poker Players Championship, you already get your name on a trophy. Like you don't have to automatically get this other thing too. They already made special awards for winning those.
I can tell you nobody's going to really remember that Deeb won the POI this year.
No.
Maybe they will just because of the uproar about the POI, but generally it's going to be an insignificant thing compared to what Mizrahi just has enshrined himself in. So just know that he didn't get like passed over for something or something.
Yeah. So you kind of mentioned this before as well. You said maybe this is the thing that will force the World Series to make some changes, and I think you were talking about something with Kassouf and his punishments or whatnot. But I think there were a lot of things. Oh, you know what? I'm going to come back to that, put a pin in that. One other thing that came up at the final table was Mr. Hendricks and another player were still in the WPT Gold Last Longer, which was another promo they were doing for the last person wearing their patch in the main event would get 50 grand. And when they arrived for the final table stream, they were forced to take that WPT patch off. That seems unprecedented. In World Series streams, there's always been advertisers. There's always been third-party patches. The World Series stream itself has Poker Stars all along the top banner, and they have all the other, advertising going on. So, I mean, what do you think of that?
I didn't actually know that they were still in the running for the gold. I thought that WPT just tried to patch them. I didn't realize that. I really disagree with it. There are a bunch of people in the comments on my tweet were just like, what do you want them to do? WPT did something really bad. They're a direct competitor, so they don't want them on the final table. That makes sense. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
No, none of those things make sense.
Yeah. But Griner had a BetMGM patch on. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. None of those things make sense. I mean, if what you're saying, it makes sense because now they're pissed and they're petty. Okay. But if you mean like it makes sense from a,
Business-like.
business standpoint or a agreement standpoint or a precedent standpoint? No, it doesn't. It makes sense that
Right.
they're mad.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense anything
I mean,
else.
I mean, 'cause it's always like any business decision can always just be like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna go do this, right? So sure, that's always a thing, but don't say that it's like what Ty is saying. It's not it's unprecedented. It was very odd.
The number of patches that have been on every final table stream ever, like they always talked about it, making the ESPN final table for the World Series, you'd make so much money because someone could slap a patch on you. So like you're literally taking money away from your players. Now they did still pay Hendricks the $50K last longer. I saw a Twitter post where they congratulated him. So
That's nice.
WPT is I think WPT was a huge winner during this series.
Yeah. I mean, they already paid out like that ridiculous miss guarantee for the main. They're just always so about the players, and everything they did this year, even though they kind of like were chaotic in a way that they kind of danced around the WSOP, always looking out for players.
Yeah.
I feel like the patch thing though was like mildly bad, but I think what was very bad was that Jack Effel went to Hendricks and the other guy Mangini, as they were walking to the final table to tell them to take off the patch, and then was like arguing with them. Like right before, when you're trying to like lock in and zone in for the most important tournament of your life, and then that happens, like Jesus Christ, are you kidding?
Yeah, I mean, we got Wild Gill upset and yelling at Frank for taking a picture of him before a final table, and then here you get Effel ripping patches off people, arguing with them, telling them to take things off at the last second. Like, come on, man.
I have actually said that to Frank too, because Frank always wants to get a picture when you and him like make a day two. I'm like, hey Frank, can you just do it like 10 minutes earlier? Because I need to actually just kind of sit there and lock in. So he's like getting us like right before like the clock's about to start. So yeah, like people need to lock in, and that's so mild. Like Frank just wants a picture. It's not a big deal, right? But then like because then he basically got into an argument with Hendricks about the patch.
And it's the same thing.
A guy.
It's that same thing you're saying. Look, if you're going to make that policy decision, sure, but like, hey, announce it before the series starts. Announce it ahead of time when you announce the schedule or the rules. Don't announce it then, and especially then because you're being petty. I mean, if WPT broke rules, bring some lawsuits. I really think there's some case for lawsuits. If they have any ground to stand on, if it really was disruptive and wrong, then they should have grounds for a lawsuit for this $1 million disruption to their event, to their.
I actually think something is coming WPT's way from the WSOP. It seemed like Daniel alluded to that a little bit in
I could totally see that
one of his vlogs. In one of his vlogs.
It's like taking like what most WSOP tournaments that end, you end with less than $1 million in the prize pool. So offering $1 million to disrupt and completely, if
undermine the integrity.
If you have integrity of the game, and if you have, prestige or whatever, just completely undermining it, like you should have some sort of case. And if you don't, then shut up, right? Just pay the people, let them do the thing. In that vein, though, the original question was, do you think we will see changes next year in chopping, in maybe action clocks to keep people from being able to take that much time and to have the players have to police it themselves? Because I know the 2 times I've played in the main so far, just in general at the World Series, I hate how long some people take, and I hate that nobody feels like they should be calling clock ever. Negreanu was talking about normalize calling the clock. Like I agree. Like we should be calling clock. We should be calling clock.
The bubble of the closer. Oh my gosh, my table.
And the one chip thing. God. Yep, the tanking and the one chip thing.
The floor got called to our table for 4 different people. He was there like 8 times, and he was like really getting mad at it. But I wasn't me. I wasn't doing it, but it was pretty funny. Not funny. Not
so
funny.
Do you think they'll finally make changes? Because
So you know what the action clock thing? WSOP is so adamantly against it, and they're just not saying why. That's the one that I'm actually still feel like they're not going to do something very stupidly. Like no one understands why they're not doing it. I mean, I suppose that they think that that's going to somehow hurt amateurs or something, or rush them, and that it doesn't. Like freaking Kevin has had action clocks for how long at the Gardens, and hopefully at the Commerce soon. And it's been fine. But this does seem one of those very like guarded decisions that they're not wavering on. But you know that I don't know at what point they started introducing the action clocks to the high rollers, but at least like that started happening. So maybe they're moving that direction. I cross their fingers and hope that that's what happens.
Yeah, and the thing is with the WSOP Plus app, they could do so much more. We all have an app that's tied into the inner workings of the tournament. You could implement a chess clock on that app. The only downside would be dealing with people whose batteries die throughout the day. You could literally institute a chess clock per player with us all being forced to use the app, and that would be amazing. So, like, please do that. Give us all a chess clock. Give us all a 20-minute time bank in 2-minute hand intervals or something. Just do it.
I floated the idea of having like a speed chess tournament. I want somebody to just have a speed chess like poker tournament.
Oh, absolutely.
Where you only have like a couple of seconds to act.
Yeah.
I would love to see. I would love to play it. I would just love to see it. Like people just going off of pure instinct, right?
Yeah.
And I would love all the GTO bots be sitting there unable to do anything because they can't.
Unless they are the most studied GTO bot ever, and they actually do know, then they'll play fast. But
even at that point, you still have to kind of think through so much to make sure like all the different nodes
I'm down,
that
man.
like.
I'm down.
Possible.
DJ would have did it if he was still at Commerce. He did that. They did those social experiment ones. They tried to do all these other wacky ones. He would absolutely have done like a bullet poker.
Maybe we can convince Kevin or Jeff to do one of those.
Yeah, but would it be 5-second or 10-second action? I almost want to do 5-second, but like
it's literally 5 second would be funny, but I think that might be a little too far. I feel like some of the older players wouldn't.
My main problem with that is just like logistically, like knowing that guy stopped and now I have to start the clock from that. Like the dealers might not even be able to keep up and make it 5 seconds.
I think 10 seconds would be. It's a nice number, and also I think people would just be laughing because they're just constantly getting rushed. Every single person's getting rushed through the decision. I think it would just be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And it would obviously be a quick one day because it'd be quick.
Right.
Anyways, but yeah, they have the ability to do things with this app. I say do it, man, because the fact that the biggest problem with the ability to tank in that is the uneven enforcement of it and the uneven impact of it across tables, because some tables don't have tankers. Some tables have people who call clocks. Some tables have people who are really good at manipulating the clock. Some tables just put a freaking timer on it so it's fair. But the other interesting thing that they could do with the app, and this was suggested by Mr. Sandusky, Mr. Player of the Year point formula extraordinaire guy.
By the way, I just want to say that Sandusky dealt to me, and I didn't know it was him. He had a mask on.
Oh, you didn't know?
Like, Derek, so you should put on a pair of glasses. Like, what? It's me. It's Tom. I was like, oh, I didn't know. Hey, buddy. I was like, hey, buddy.
Yeah, sorry, Tom. I only came up 2 weekends this summer, so I didn't come up very often. Didn't have a chance to connect with you, but very cool. I hope you didn't deal Derek any of the nasty beats he was complaining about this summer.
Actually, I feel like he didn't. Nice. You know what? I wish you were at my table more, because I feel like you're one of the very few dealers that didn't absolutely destroy me this series.
But the point is, we could institute with that app, and honestly, you could probably do it with Poker Atlas app also, but you could institute individual, every single place is a different pay jump. You could implement $40 pay jumps per whatever. You could implement, whatever the tournament is. If it's a 1K, you could implement $20 pay jumps per place instead of having those lumps. And we could see, does this make it better or not? Some people argue, well, now people will tank because there's always a little pay jump, and other people argue no one will tank because they're so small. What's the point, So
that app is unbelievable. I mean, just like the basics of it, of being able to see table information and just registering was amazing, but the payouts just like pay out, and they kind of walk by and they say, you know where you're going, and you're like, yes, and then it's done, right? You just show up, do your card, and all it was amazing.
Yeah, the app was a huge plus. Love it. And I love that they said they're bringing it to the circuits, so that's going to be great. That is interesting, because I thought the app might have had an impact on the number of entries we saw. Now, the World Series, it looked like, from kind of quick analysis I was seeing, most of the events did see an uptick in most of the buy-in ranges overall saw an uptick in entries, but the main event dropped around 500 people, I think, up high 400s or so, which is significant.
I think Anuj, who is the guy that works for, I forgot what site he works for, but he's been doing a lot of the analysis. And if you don't follow him, his name is Anuj Anor. Actually, I got him right here. Let me drop him here in the chat. Definitely give this guy a follow. He's got fantastic posts on stats for the WSOP. I think he kind of noticed, he's editor-in-chief at Poker Fuse and Poker in Pro. But I think that he noticed that a lot of the growth was driven by rebuys, actually, by reentries. So I
Yeah.
think the app like did a lot of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I totally believe it. That would have been my guess, but I had no way to figure out because it's so easy to rebuy. And with different payment methods, it's the first time like I was buying into tournaments with my credit card, getting percentages back, getting points. It's like that's amazing. And the fact that you could bust your table, stand up, be rebought before you even walk to the next table, like you didn't have to walk out of the room. You could just walk to your next table. Insane.
It's funny. It's funny. People were getting pissed off, not pissed off, but they would come back and sort of bug the dealers to
Knock 'em out.
eliminate
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
because they couldn't
Yeah.
reg yet.
Yep.
And then actually some people I told them like, hey, you have to actually like refresh the app and it'll just show up. But yeah.
Yeah. Yep. It's wild, right? So that's another thing it brings up. Another change do you think they'll make next year, right? People were complaining about, hey, the rule this year, because of the way it works, is if you register and you walk to your table, you can wait for your big blind because you're not in until you're checked in. People were complaining about that, some people. So like, is that like there's a long list of things, right? That
I'm surprised. I was actually surprised about that rule. I didn't agree with it. I feel like just
it's definitely against the spirit, but
make them sit, yeah.
logistically, there's not much you can do. It's true. There's not a lot you can do.
Yeah.
So like that just goes along with the the one ship behind thing is another thing Negron you brought up in his vlog, like, hey, the one ship behind plus tanking thing has got out of hand, or the one ship behind just nobody ever noticing because you got all these new dealers. All of these things really felt a little louder this year, and I feel like that WPT really capitalized on that, and like it worked. It worked on me. Like all of the things that we always complain about, it's really kind of got me realizing, look, they really aren't that well run. I mean, like logistically they're getting better, but like the actual down there, it feels like every time they had an opportunity to show that they were a really experienced and polished poker tournament running group, that just seemed like they were pissing everyone off, and it's like it's the numbers. If there's a bigger tournament in town, I think I would just go play that. It's not the World Series. I mean, between the number bracelets that get given out every year and everything, it's like it'd still be great to win one, but it's just like it's almost feeling like just another tournament. They just happen to be the biggest ones. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone, but I feel like a lot of people are going to start thinking that way and think like, hey, WPT, maybe they're the way to go. Maybe they're the place to be. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think from a scale and numbers perspective, WPT is still very far behind what WSOP can pull, especially in the summer. So they probably still have a ways to go, but definitely player sentiment, especially pro sentiment, is definitely way leaning more towards WPT and their player experience.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, I don't know if we're going to see changes next year. I feel like they should. I feel like that will help them a lot. I mean, if they can implement some positive changes, that will help immensely, right? So we'll see. We'll see. We got time, right? All right. But that's another World Series in the books. Unfortunately, sorry. We're all sorry to hear it didn't go great for you. Glad to see you back here in the LA streets. And I didn't go that often. Maybe I was feeling like it wouldn't go well either. I was also just tired, which meant it wasn't going to go well. But, I only played 2 events, did not cash, so it didn't go that well for me either. But, can't say I really tried very hard. This year, we are ready to get started, though. We are ready to get started. The 2025-2026 season starts this weekend at the Bike. Now, we went over the schedule pretty quickly the other week, so why don't we just hop in and handle this weekend roundup style. All right. So like you said, our big series starts off right after the WSOP, as always, with Legends at the Bike. This weekend, they start off with a flurry, a big one-day events. So if you like one-day events, this is your weekend. Pick your favorite day or play them all. I'm not sure what Julie's apologizing for, but whatever it is, I'm sure everything's great. The first kickoff event is on Friday. You get 40,000 chips. It's a 50K guarantee, which I'm sure will get to at least 75 or 80 minimum. Buy-in is only $260, so it's a nice way to ease back in to the season. And all of these events that are going to count for our LA Poker Roundup Player of the Year are posted on the website. I have a tweet. I will pin that to the top soon. And also, I'm not sure. We haven't worked out the day yet. I have a feeling Mr. Albin's going to be staying in Vegas a little longer. So once he's back in LA and he's over at the Bike, we will be doing the trophy presenting the trophy for last year's Player of the Year to him. So keep it tuned, keep your eyes out, and you'll see that one too, and you'll get to see what we're playing for here. So that kickoff is on Friday. It's 11 a.m., 50K guarantee. Awesome. If you can't come until after work, there's a 4 p.m. start time for the Super Stack at night. That's a 20K guarantee, also $260 buy-in. On Saturday, the Legendary Deep Stack. Now, this is going to be massive. I really, really hope they're opening additional tables. I really, really hope they're going to have extra tables outside of just that room and bring all the dealers in for that day, because to get to 200,000 guarantee, $400 buy-in, they're going to fill that room instantly. It starts at 11 a.m., 200K guarantee on $400 buy-in, 30K in chips, 30-minute levels, and that is going to be a long one. Buckle up.
I can't actually make it on time. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to maybe.
Then.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to actually text a couple people there to be like, "Hey, what's the line look like before I decide?"
Yeah, if you want to blind out, we can read you early. But like, this seems like a come real early or a come kind of later. And
come real late. Yeah.
Yeah, I would not show up to this one personally. I would not try to show up to this one at like 11:40. That seems like the worst time possible. You're probably gonna have a really long line.
Yeah.
Yep, but it's gonna be huge, 200K guarantee. And then there's a 5 p.m. tournament on Saturday with a 30K guarantee. That is another 40K chips, $300 entry. So then Sunday, if you think it's over, it's not. Sunday, there's another 100K guarantee, which used to be one of the bigger ones. But now on this weekend, this is like a medium small one. That's a $300 entry. You get 50K in chips, Sunday Super Stack, 100K guarantee, 11 a.m. start time. So this weekend, all the one days, super fun weekend. It's gonna be a nice welcome back, a nice everybody who didn't go to Vegas, everybody who did go to Vegas, everybody just getting back to the bike and blasting off. It's gonna be crazy. Make sure you're there. Next week on Monday starts the Big Four. So it's 400K guarantee, where it's not a quantum, but there is a nice hefty double bag bonus. So double qualifiers will get 2,200. Which is, what is that? Approximately 7.5 times your buy-in. So let me take a look and see what the bag is for that. So if you're in the Big Four, we will be bagging. Oh, it's 12% in the money, so it's just a little worse than 1 in 8 bag, and you get 1 in like 7.5x payout for a double bag. And if you account for the rake, it's definitely the right amount. So this double bag bonus is huge. If you can grind it all week, unfortunately, probably worth it.
It's nice playing a bunch of tournaments, even though I ran so bad. It was nice playing tournaments without double bag bonuses.
I know, right? And yet still huge tournaments. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings up another point. Now, this was pointed out, and it's, I took a look at last year's Legends, and it hasn't really changed, but just another thing is, at least, hey, on the bright side, you've been playing World Series events, and they have really high rake. So when you come back to LA and you play these events, you're not going to notice anything because they have still pretty high rake. So just keep eye out, like that 400, 200 K guarantee, that $80 of that goes to rake. So that's, $320 goes to the prize pool, $80 goes to rake. That's like a 25% rake in that neighborhood.
And I had such a bad series that if anybody thought that you couldn't get a piece of the number 3 POY of last year in a $400 tournament, you might be able to get a piece this year.
Yeah, right? And then, look, Hendon never lies. You're not supposed to say that half out loud. And then, and like the Big Four, that $400, I think that's $70 rake. So like this, these are decently large percentages. And so if you're really concerned about rake and you can afford it, you might want to wait for the higher buy-in tournaments. But these guarantees hopefully will make up for it. They're going to be massive prize pools. They're going to be massive player pools. So, let's get back in there. And of course, you get Player of the Year points for us. So if you want to see your name up there, you want to beat Elvin next year, you got to show up. All right. So that's what's happening at the bike this weekend. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good kickoff. And like I said before, big fan of the schedule. All of the non-quantums are before the baby's due date, and then the quantums start right around when baby's due. So I can safely just skip those and not feel bad. So it's going to be great. Let's move over to the Commerce. So the Commerce that weekend, they have been breaking their daily records every weekend for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Obviously, with everyone up at the World Series and no series happening around town. This week, obviously, they recognize the competition is a little stiffer. So this weekend is their Player Appreciation Weekend. And on their Player Appreciation Weekend, they have the same guarantees for their dailies, which they had been doubling and tripling easily. What they're going to do is on Friday, they are going to add 5K to the prize pool of the 10:30 a.m. tournament on Friday. They're going to add 5K to the tournament prize pool of the Saturday tournament, and 5K to the Sunday noon tournament. Now, that is the biggest percentage add-on to the Friday morning tournament at 10:30. So if you can get down to that, that's pretty nice. It's going to be 15K guarantee with 5K added. But essentially what that's going to do is kind of take the rake off their tournaments. I mean, that 5K is just going to get put in there right on the top. The Gardens did this once last year. They just did prize pool added to the tournaments. So it's weird. Like, honestly, if I were them, what I would have done, and I was talking with Taxi Table, he suggested it first, is the smart thing to have done, honestly, probably would have been to push these start times back so that you can catch people busting from the bike and then driving over, because you do get that a lot. And with the start times as they are, it's going to be harder to catch those folks, because the weird thing about adding to the prize pool, I love adding to the prize pool, but it's more significant the fewer people show up. So it's kind of weird. It's like, if I'm going, I'm more incentivized to not have you come, because I'll get a bigger boost from that 5K, you know?
And also, I don't want them to run out of wings, because it looks like I can get wings and a drink for free.
Yep. They're giving away food from 12 to 9. If you enter these morning tournaments, you'll get some food.
I am gonna admit, like, a lot of the Commerce food isn't great, but their wings are pretty good.
Yeah, and honestly, the 10:30 starts early enough that if I could get there on time, I might play that one and then do the bust from there, go to the bike for their noon one. I think it was noon. But
I still remember showing up to that Commerce tournament where they're giving away the air fryers. I didn't know, and I got an air fryer, but then I just gave it to you because I didn't want it.
Yep. I still have that, by the way. I think we used that the other day.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
All right, so that's what's happening at Commerce. Free food and 5K added to the prize pool this weekend. Let's go over to Hollywood Park. So Hollywood Park, they have their regular events happening, except on Saturday they have I guess, George Strait concert happening. Is that from Dire Straits or something? George Strait happening 7/19 on Saturday. But other than that, their weekend tournaments are standard. Friday, Bounty, Sunday, Bankroll Builder. So regular events other than Saturday. Lucky Lady just wrapped up their series. Their the something Flint. What's her name? Is it Lisa Flint? Something Flint series. I do not see any. Yeah, I do not see any results up here. I'm guessing some of those in chat were there a lot and playing. So, but I just don't have the results. So. Liz Flint, there it is. The Liz Flint series just wrapped up last weekend, and they did make their guarantee, and they had a nice little closing series or closing event. Looks like they have a 10K guarantee tournament happening this Saturday at 3 p.m. So that is where's the buy-in? Oh boy. All right. Well, I don't know. This happens a lot on this on the Lucky Lady webpage. They put out these tournament announcements, and they just don't put all the information on them. I'm going to assume it's like the regular ones and it's like a 130 or 150 buy-in, but it's just...
I will say it again. Weird. If you need help with operations or communications, let me know. I am happy to help out.
Yeah, I mean, because maybe I'm missing something, guys, but look at this announcement page here. I'm on this 10,000 anniversary tournament. I don't know how much it is. I know there's a 9 up here, which is weird because it's on the 19th. Saturday, not like, I don't know what this 9 is for. Is this the 9th anniversary maybe? But it's on the 19th. It's at 3 p.m. I don't know how much it costs to play.
Maybe it's a 10K buy-in.
Yeah, right. That would be different. So, so that's where we're at there. And that is what's happening this weekend, obviously. And then at the Gardens, they should be having their regular dailies, as they still are in silence, quietly, probably still putting up decent numbers. So that is what's going on. Yeah, Julie's trying to help those guys, but it's good. You can only lead the horse to water, right? Okay. Someone in the chat there, no way, says the Lucky Lady tournament is 150 with a $50 add-on. Interesting. That's not written anywhere on this page, so that may be the case.
Insider info.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is all we have for you. We are ready, geared up, and ready to blast away. Well, I'm ready to blast away. Derek probably needs to sleep all weekend, but we're ready to blast away at the bike this weekend and these massive, massive one days. So hopefully you guys are too.
Are you playing tomorrow?
I plan on playing tomorrow. Yeah, I do.
Nice. Yeah, I won't be there tomorrow, but I should be there Saturday, a little bit late. But if somebody gives me a heads up that the line's too big, I may skip it. We'll see.
My plan actually is to play tomorrow, and then before I leave, hopefully discover that somehow I can register that for Saturday before I leave. That would be nice.
And make sure you get a hold of Jeff's ear tomorrow to check with him if he's open up some tables.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll post about that too. If it sounds like there's extra tables, we'll say, show on, get everybody show up, bring the family. We got space. If not, we'll say this is a good early or late one, so let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Julie, for joining us in the chat, and No Way, and all the other folks joining us in the chat for this welcome back episode. We are excited for the poker season here, and we will see you at the tables.
See you at the tables, everyone.
All right, let's go, guys.